So 2023 is here and I have been absolutely filled with hope by the first 3 days of this year. And for once that hope is not baseless, it's got a base, it's baseful. I've just got a sneaky feeling that the shameless, virtue-signalling, moral, grandstanding, holier-than-thou, neo-Puritan twats are just going to keep churning out material for me to react to. Today, for example, I'm going to take a look at the teaser for Anderson Cooper's 60 Minutes interview with Prince Harry coming up on Sunday, ahead of the release of his memoir, which is coming out, I believe, on the 10th of January. And, yeah, you know what? I am going to be calling him out. I am going to be calling him a grifter and all those kind of things in this video. And I'm well aware that there are people, idiots, who think that people like me, you know, who react to these grifters, are actually more morally deplorable and bigger grifters ourselves than those that we criticise. They think that we're some sort of dopamine-addicted anglerfish, you know, baiting our hapless viewers. That's you, right? You're not hapless, are you? No, right? We're baiting our hapless in inverted commas viewers with our colourful, emotive thumbnails before devouring our heedless prey, you know, devouring hours of your lives that you'll never get back. But that's stupid, isn't it? I'm not an anglerfish. But if I am an anglerfish, then Prince Harry is a fucking sunfish, mindlessly floating around in the ocean with a gormless, open-mouthed expression, oblivious to any real danger, before eventually, and inevitably, a pod of orcas, or perhaps more appropriately, in Harry's case, a ravenous great white shark, tears him to shreds.
One of the criticisms that you've received is that, well, okay, fine, you want to move to California, you want to step back from the institutional role, why be so public? You say you tried to do this privately.
And every single time I've tried to do it privately, there have been briefings and leakings and planting of stories against me and my wife.
Sigh, here we are again. Groundhog Day. More insinuations, more half-truths. Who, when, what, where, what did they say? Who leaked what to who? To what paper? Where? What? Tell us something concrete. Stop making all these vague insinuations. I absolutely guarantee that this memoir that's coming out on the 10th of January is just going to be a whole load of hot air, like everything else that these two bang on about. Obviously, nothing's going to be said in the interview with Anderson Cooper because he's got the book to sell, so there needs to be something else. There's always something else coming out with these two, isn't there? But they never say anything. Who's the real anglerfish who's stringing you all along to a watery grave, whose demonic face you can't see in the blackness of the ocean floor? It's Harry.
You know, the family motto is never complain, never explain, but it's just a motto. And it doesn't really hold.
There's a lot of complaining and a lot of explaining.
It is amazing if someone says something enough times, you eventually get gaslighted into almost believing or doubting what you've seen with your own eyes. Because I had to think there for a second. They were, leaking stories about Harry and Meghan and negative press and because they wanted to leave the royal family. And maybe that's what... No, that wasn't what was happening. It wasn't. Think. Try focus on your own memories. Don't listen to them. They're lying, right? The negative press for Meghan and Harry started when they started whinging about how difficult their life was, how everyone was bullying them and everyone was racist in the press and the blah, blah, blah. Nobody would have cared that they were going to leave the royal family and go and live a private life in California. Nobody. Who would? Why would we? Focus on what you can actually see and actually prove. These two people, Harry and Meghan, wanted to be members of the royal family, but they wanted to have their cake and eat it. They wanted to be in and out at the same time. They wanted to receive all of the nice things, the perks of being in the royal family, you know, the prestige, the titles, the money, the properties, all of that, but didn't want to carry out all the ribbon-cutting duties, okay? And visiting people and stuff like that. They wanted to do that more on their own terms, and Meghan wanted to run her own Instagram page. That alone, to me, shows what work-shy grifters they really are. Proud, narcissistic, entitled brats. They essentially wanted money for nothing, so what's the next best thing? Sell nothing for money. They sat down and did a cost-benefit analysis of, is it better if we stay in the royal family and have to do all the ribbon cutting, or how many hundreds of millions can we make out of selling half-truths and vague insinuations for the next few years? Oh, I don't know. Maybe we could get a few Netflix shows and a couple of books out of it. Pathological cynicism.
Endless.
Private being done through leaks.
Through leaks. They will feed or have a conversation with the correspondent, and that correspondent will literally be spoon-fed information and write the story, and then at the bottom of it they will say that they've reached out to Buckingham Palace for comment. But the whole story is Buckingham Palace commenting. So when we're being told for the last 6 years we can't put a statement out to protect you, but you do it for other members of the family, there becomes a point when silence is betrayal.
We've got this book coming out, Spare, but after that, they've said all they can say, surely.
Oh, you underestimate the degree of their capacity to turn a molehill into the Himalayas.
See, I'm not an anglerfish, and you certainly are not my heedless prey, are you? Harry and Meghan are like the Pied Piper leading all of the rats off the cliff. Question is, how many rats are actually being led off the cliff now? It feels like they are a dwindling minority of idiots. Let's take a look at the comments on this teaser. Forget the interview, I'm here for the comments. It never had to be this way, says Prince Harry. That is the statement of a man who didn't get his way and now feels like he has to tear down the family. His role in this is even more sinister than I thought. Yeah, I think most of us sort of saw Harry as this gormless sunfish floating around in oblivion, initially. But I think it's quite clear that either, as time's gone, he's really bought into Meghan's, plan for the family, how they're going to make their millions, or he's just always been an envious, entitled, narcissistic faux victim. So privileged, yet still complaining about everything. There's people out there that can't even feed their families, and he thinks he's a victim. Damn, go and live your private life that you always wanted. I mean, I guess everything's relative. You can be distressed, however good your life is, apparently, externally. On the outside looking in, people can have a great life, but you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I get all of that. But yeah, absolutely. When after 2 years of grifting as hard as you can, most people sort of think, well, I really don't feel sorry for you because nothing that bad's actually tangibly happened to you. It does kind of piss me off. I love the part where H says the royals plant stories, but doesn't have the intelligence to realise that his wife and him never stop planting stories. And that's a really interesting point, isn't it? That they're complaining about having stories leaked and the press talking about them or lying about them, or the royal family lying about them by leaking stories to the press. And that's exactly what they are doing. Now, I don't know how aware or unaware they are of what they're doing. Maybe one is more aware than the other. I mean, Harry seems... I don't know. It seems like Harry, if one of them's unaware and one of them is aware in their narcissism, I'm going unaware Harry, the bloody sunfish floating in oblivion, rather than Meghan, who seems a little bit more conscious of what they're doing, right? The grift. She seems more confident in her grift. Harry's kind of, I don't know, he's got a glazed expression, hasn't he? Meghan looks like she's kind of got things more together. You know what I mean? I think that Harry is perhaps completely unaware that he is talking to Anderson Cooper right now. And he's about to do a big reveal interview on 60 Minutes before bringing out a big reveal memoir the following Tuesday. I think that might have all just gone over his head, whereas Meghan's probably hyper aware of it all and just doesn't give a shit because she thinks that anyone who believes her at this point is so fucking unintelligent that it doesn't matter. They're never going to realise that these two are a pair of grifters. So, who cares? Again, oh, for fuck's sake, what is left to tell? George wouldn't let him play with his Legos. Sick of it. This is getting so embarrassing, it's hard to watch. So critical of the media, and yet he goes running straight to them, cap in hand, to flog his book and criticise his family, knowing they can't/won't be able to respond. How embarrassing. Better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. So what have we learned today? I'm not an anglerfish. Harry is a sunfish. And actually, if you're wondering what kind of animal, what is my spirit animal, and people like me, reacting to all of these grifters, because we're not grifters, right? I'm not a grifter, okay? All right? and we're not trying to bait you with our thumbnails. We're just trying to provide you with what you want. Okay, you want it, you take it. Okay, right? I don't get anything in return. Anyway, if you want to know what you should compare me with, I would accept fox, raccoon, or vulture. And I know what you're thinking, scavengers, nasty scavengers, we represent death. Well, actually, no. In Christian symbolism, vultures actually signify rebirth, okay? We're taking the death of people like, you know, well, the people we talk about, you know, it's not literal death, just the sort of dying on stage, camera, car crash rubbish, right? We're taking all that and we're breathing new life into it. That's what we're doing. We're sort of like court jesters. We're essential to a good court, to society, right? If the emperor can't see that he's naked, that's a problem, okay? Society would collapse, I believe, without people there to laugh at our would-be leaders, would-be tyrants, okay? So here's to more carrion in 2023. See you in the next one.